For a number of years, Parliament has had intakes of a big number of young people. We saw that in 2011, 2016, and another big group is coming in 2021 of young people. But what does it mean for the country? What does it mean for the areas they come from to represent? And what does it mean to Parliament herself? Again, what does it mean to these very people? Do they really serve their people at that age, which one would call tender? Again, how do they conduct themselves in Parliament? Is it for the good of you, the people they represent? That's part of what we're going to know this evening with in a discussion with an MP that joined Parliament at the age one would call youthful. She is coming in for a second kind of term, and we want to know, she must be experienced enough to tell us what they go through as young MPs. Join me, welcome the Honorable Kyinyamatama Juliet Suubi, the woman member of Parliament of Rakai District. So if you're from Rakai, I have your woman MP here. Honorable, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How are you? How is Rakai in the first place?
Oh, I'm very fine, thank you. Rakai is very good. We are farmers, and our cows are safe from the foot and mouth that is happening. For the agriculture side, we have enough rain, so we are doing well.
Okay.
Like how someone from Rakai would say, we are fine, we have rain and we are okay.
You joined Parliament in 2016.
Yeah.
With your permission, how old were you?
I was 27.
You were 27.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Because I was talking to somebody and he said, if a young person only feels to be too big for the world to accommodate him just because he has been admitted in university, it must be a different feel when he or she wins a parliamentary seat. What kind of feel was it for you?
It was, first of all, it's not a feel that you get that particular time. It's a gradual feel. So you talk about university, different stages in life give you different excitements, and they build your final adulthood. So you're excited to be a P7 leaver, you have a party, and you're just imagining of the world in the secondary school. You get to secondary school and you enjoy that life, and you see maybe the difference and what have you. You join campus, different excitement. So that accumulated excitement at different levels builds your capacity for work, because you're training, you're being groomed to go out there and serve your country in different capacities. So I leave campus where I was excited like any other, I enjoyed like any other. Go to work and get my first job in Rwanda to work with an NGO called Partners in Health, and these were Americans. And I found a different world there. And while there, I come back home and then contest to be a member of Parliament. What I want to tell the viewers is that what you go through to become a member of Parliament trims you enough to be humble. Yes. Because to be a member of Parliament, you have to have enough social skills with the voters for them to believe in you and think that this is the right person who is going to represent us. So you come with that background, with that trust from people that have voted you. So when you get to Parliament, you might call it another world, but it is another world with people from the same background, politics, voting. So it humbles you. Now to come to Parliament and you find yourself mingling up with the likes of the Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, who's been in Parliament for years. So you're like, me, I am a first timer, and now there's this lady here. So it humbles you. You're like, oh, will I ever get there? What has she done that I can do? So instead of going to the other life of just enjoying your life, you put your head down to how do I serve my people best? How do I please them? Because it's about pleasing them. You do what you want, what you feel you should do as a leader, but it should be relevant. So that drives you away from the world of She's youthful. How is she taking herself in parliament? How is it? Maybe her paycheck has changed. Is it exciting for her? So the responsibility takes you on, and it takes up your life. So that is how I felt when I got to parliament. I was yearning to serve my people and wondering how. So I needed to put my head down and inquire and make sure I lobby enough for my people to bring me back to parliament. Because as you know, we do not have constituency development fund. It was scrapped off, I think, in the 7th parliament. So it is you and your small salary. You have to plan for it and make sure you excite your people. Secondly, you have to lobby from government. So I was so busy and focused on how am I making my second term. So that shaped my life, that shaped my excitement. So instead of getting excited, I was blown out by what was ahead of me, the responsibility that I had taken on. Yeah.
Is youthful an advantage for an MP? Is youthfulness an advantage for an MP? How?
It is a very big advantage, my fellow members of parliament that would watch this show. This is the time when you're energetic enough to serve your country. This is a time when you're living in your dream. Because I suppose you started dreaming, because I started dreaming to be a member of parliament when I was 10 years. And I told my father, I did not know of any other political position apart from MP. Neither did I know that there is a woman member of parliament or a directly elected member of parliament. I just thought I would be a member of parliament. So I grew up to live to my dream, to live on my dream, to live to enjoy my dream. And now here I am. So being a youth, take on that responsibility, take on that opportunity, utilize the platform that has been given to you by the people and serve your country. This is when you can serve your country. Even when you look at this government, you really see that they started serving, they started yearning, they started fighting bad governance that was there when they were useful. So, absolutely right. It is very important, and it is an opportunity when you come to parliament when you're still youthful. You have a lot you can accomplish as a youth member.
But do you, our youthful members of parliament, really live up to that expectation in practice now?
By the way, I think the public should dig into the performance of a member of parliament in parliament, on a national level, and on ground, and then see what is the most important. Because, for example, I was telling someone, I was meeting the director of the Raka District Referral Hospital, and he was telling me the challenges they have at the hospital. And I was like, I can proudly say that I have had ladies' testimonies about income generating activities that I started. Women, for youth, for borders, for widows. As like, I can proudly account for the 5 years. And now I am going to proudly account for my second term to work on this hospital in whatever capacity, in whatever way that I will have. But this is one thing I want. So what am I trying to say? I am trying to say that performance of a member of parliament is in various ways. And secondly, personal interest. There is a member of parliament who is not going to be on the floor of parliament talking every day. But they know where to lobby from, and they know the needs of their people. And they are going to be judged differently at the end of the day. How? The nation will judge them. When you show up and they're like, we don't know that member of parliament. Is she in parliament?
She is never on the floor.
Oh, she's never on the floor. We don't know her. Then you go to the constituency.
And people are happy.
She's the king or the queen. Like, ooh, our king has come. What does he do? He did this, he helped the orphans here, he did. So those are two different judgments.
Give me a difference there. How useful is an MP who is absent on the floor? Because as far as
how do you appear on the floor matters a lot. How do you appear on the floor? What takes you on the floor?
For an MP.
So now, the other day I was telling my people, some friends of mine, that being in parliament on the ruling side is quite disadvantageous to someone who wants to appear on the floor and talk about something all the time. One, everything comes from cabinet. If it is, for example, a bill, it comes from in cabinet. Cabinet agrees on the bill. It comes to parliament. Remember, you're on the government side. So government side has come with this bill. You read through. And all you can say or do, and remember these bills come and go to the committees.
Yes.
So when they come to the committee, this is why you can say, it is talking about 12 people, but I think it should be 13. It is polished up in the committee level, and then it comes to the floor. Fine with a stand of government. So where are you? Where have you been? Now to come on the floor and say, no, I thought it should have been 17, they've put 10. So you find yourself limited. This cuts across to even ministers, because they do a lot of talking in their cabinet. So then you cannot be the one. Exactly, you cannot be the one to cry on the floor. Julie, you're lost, we are not seeing you. I'm like, but aren't you seeing me? I'm really deliberating your issues in parliament. They're like, no, this is not what we want. Okay, now you've done enough. Can you come down to us? What does that mean? It means that you have to follow their timetable. Actually, not your timetable, but their timetable. They are not in the corporate world where they know that Monday to Friday is office work. So they will give you their program anytime. And you do not comply with that, they don't bring you back to parliament. So I think work needs to change. Vetting a member of parliament and how a member of parliament performs should change, and they look at those important dimensions, because then it adds up and makes you a competent MP or not. So yeah.
Back to our young MPs. What we know is that you people are paid well, facilitated well, some good money for a car, some good salary at the end of the month, and things like that. There are so many people that are warming up to join parliament, to swear in and start sitting with you guys. How does these goodies treat you as MP?
First of all, these goodies are not goodies.
How does the
because
facilitation and
giving
the money
you giving you the money to buy a car, for example, this is a 5 years car that you're going to use to serve your people. An example of driving from here to Rakai and going through the entire district. Rakai district is a very big district, and you're using that same car for 5 years.
Yes.
And now you look at a civil servant who has an entitlement of a car. It is a government car, well serviced by government, given fuel by government, mechanical problems, government, and when it has a mechanical issue, they will bring another car. So those are two different things.
I understand.
And where are you serving? You're serving in Kampala.
I understand, but I'm looking
So
at
now,
a 27-year-old.
I am trying to explain to
having all
people,
this at her disposal.
I am trying to explain to Ugandans that what you call goodies for MPs, it seems to be goodies indeed, but it's not.
Really?
Because I want to tell you that I bought a car, the car, of course, those that I was campaigning with aside. So when I received money for my car in parliament, I bought it, but it didn't take me for 5 years. It didn't, because you have to work, you have to run around the district, and being a district member of parliament, woman member of parliament, you're taking a very big area.
But
You cover.
There are other directly elected MPs. How come you are alone working?
No. They're also working, but a directly elected MP stops where he is. If, for example, he has 7 sub-counties or 5 sub-counties, he stays in his 5 sub-counties. But I have 20 sub-counties, I have 17 sub-counties, that means I have to go to my 17. So I cannot be like the other person. But putting that aside, how many times are you using this car? Mileage itself on a daily basis. So I think you might get excited as a new member of parliament, not knowing what you're going to go through. But later on, you're like, wow, this is it now. So it's not goodies. So it's not the excitement you think about. Maybe, I am not saying that maybe you don't get excited. You might get excited, but it is very short-lived. It might take you for 6 months. And then you start seeing the real world you're in. A very demanding world. You talked about getting a good pay. By the way, members of parliament are paid 6 million, if you did not know.
Is it that good pay?
It's a good pay,
Good.
but the supply of it, the demand behind it. I think you have seen adverts on TV of what are roles of members of parliament. So you are not expected to expect a member of parliament to do A, B, C, D, and those A, B, C, Ds, F, Gs are the ones that bring us back to parliament. Huh?
So it's your business. It is up to you actually.
It's
They are warning the voter not to ask for all of that. Definitely warning you not to go into it.
It's the demand and it's the need that tells you about the needs of our people. That actually what we think they need is not what they need. So we were talking about the excitement, living a good life.
MPs.
And then you're coming in as a young MP and you're like, wow. No, it's not like that. It's very short-lived.
Okay, actually I've understood the justification of the car and the payment and all that. But how do those kind of remunerations and all that treat our young colleagues that join parliament? The first time he receives a message of some good millions on his phone.
You see, if for example you went for a job interview and sat for your job interview and passed it, and you saw 6M on your account, and there is no phone call that is going to be of want. Now, for example, I have an ambulance. I bought an ambulance in my constituency. I bought an ambulance, but still my people cannot afford fuel for it. So you buy an ambulance and fuel it. So on a daily, how much money you think you can use to fuel an ambulance? Take it for mechanical problems and everything. So if you got this money and it is just a pay that has no demand, that would be good enough. Everyone would want to have that as a youth.
And those facts people get to know after some time.
You see, when you're competing to come to parliament, maybe there are those stereotypes that would push you to join the race. You're like, I want to go and drive that car, and you know. But when you come, the story is different. This is what I'm sharing. I'm like, yes, that's what you believe. Because you're not there, but I am there. So this is what happens. Young people out there, you want to join parliament, good luck, come and join. But no, it is for service, serving your people.
So you're trying to tell us that those of you who struggle, you do everything during election time. Some even fight, others are taken to prison, people sweat, others sell their parents' houses, graveyards to come back to parliament. It's just for service. They are dying to come and give us service.
You're dying to come and give a service. I said you're dying to come and give a service. You do not know what is in parliament. And you will do whatever it takes to come to parliament. And you get to parliament and you find it's about service. And politics is too addictive.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's addictive. So you will think about, maybe you're like, let me do 2 terms and go. You've planned for 2 terms and you're like, I think I can beat this one. This one, I will finish. And you go back. And that's how you end up selling everything. Friends out there, everyone knows, whoever has tried any political position, it's not, even chairpersons, they'll see ones that are given 10,000. So it is someone's dream. They want to serve their country. It comes with a cost, of course, and maybe some bit of benefit, because there's no one who works for free. It's not for free, yes, but the burden is also there. The public should get to know that the burden of serving is also what? There.
And heavy.
Exactly. It's heavy. It's heavy. It takes in selling yourself and becoming another person. I was watching The Crown. It's a movie. It's a series. And the queen was in Kenya, and someone dies, the father dies, the king dies, and she becomes queen. And a grandmother writes her, it is like, as you cry for your father, cry for yourself too, because you've lost yourself as well. You have lost who you are and you're going to be something. You have taken on the crown and you're going to pay a price. So you come and you're like, for example, I came and you're like, Honorable, stay in your car a bit. Let's first fix this. Because why? Everyone's going to be like, what has she come to do? You lose your privacy, and all you have to do is be mindful.
Whatever step you make.
Be mindful. So that is losing yourself, which is not cool. however much people think it's cool, it's not.
But you people that are in it, show us that you love it. Actually, you can do anything to keep it.
You see, for example, there are things you used to do before being a professional journalist.
Yes.
And when you became, you're living another life. But that doesn't mean that you do not appreciate and love your old you.
That I don't miss it.
Exactly. So this is it.
Okay.
Maybe if you liked going to, a dance club and dance a bit, you can no longer do this time round.
What
You have
mistakes-
maybe to do it in your house or something. And if you go there, you will be judged otherwise. Because that's what people perceive of you, that's what they think. So yeah, it comes on, young people, it comes on with a price.
What mistakes do you make as youthful MPs in Parliament?
Mistakes.
After winning, you are in the House. What are those mistakes that sometimes are not avoidable?
Sometimes are not avoidable. I really do not know of any.
In terms of conduct, in terms of what?
I do not know of any. Maybe like you were asking, if you came in Parliament with a different mindset, it would take you somewhere else if you don't serve your people. Maybe if you came in and you came in over ambitious with the finances and you think I'm going to earn this and I'm going to do ABCD, it will finish you. Because at the end of the day, you will lose both. You will sell off your property that you've been accumulating to come back to Parliament, and maybe you lose it because you've not worked for your people, because you've not. So it's a sacrifice. You have to balance your needs, balance the needs of the people. Basically, you eat less for survival. If you eat all of it, then you go. That's all I can say. That's a big mistake one can ever do in any position. Not putting service first and putting self-interest first. That's a big mistake that I would imagine.
Some people think you, youthful members of Parliament or leaders, but we're focusing on Parliament, you are so prone to things like of being bribed, being paid off in different ways. When it comes to voting a certain way, it is easy to handle the young people than these seniors because they have seen it all, but you people are still building. Your mother needs a house, your grandfather needs a walking stick, you need some more shoes and things like that.
So you become very
Exactly.
vulnerable.
So you are looked at as very vulnerable, you youthful MPs, to things like bribery and being paid to think the different way. How true is that?
I think it's about values in life. For one to do away with such dubious dealings. It's about values. It's about who you are, not a position you hold. Because I have seen people do otherwise of the community's expectations, even when they are not in our positions as members of Parliament. So I do not see that, because I want Ugandans to know that members of Parliament don't touch public funds. We do not touch. We are not accounting officers. We do not meet money anywhere, apart from appropriating it, apart from budgeting for the country, and that's it. Budgeting, and you're reading figures, you're passing figures. You do not know money. You don't touch money.
And there are moments when you're given some money for something.
This is what I'm saying,
Yes.
that you are not given any money and you're not touching any government money. I do not know of any political office in this country that touches money. But let me talk about Parliament that I know better. You just pass figures for the national budget, and that is it. You don't touch money.
Honorable, recently,
Where members used to touch money was through the Constituency Development Fund that was scrapped off.
just recently, during the lockdown, there was fracas and excitement all over the country, over 20 million that were given to you people. And a number of such circumstances have been in this country, where some others have taken back that money. Of course, in a way, many of us see as political, but others have taken that money. Don't you look at that as public money?
Now, dear viewers, there is no money that comes out of Parliament that actually the public will not know. You've forgotten even the money that was given to us through when there was
During
the age limit, exactly. So now COVID money, for example, that is how a member of parliament would touch government fund or public fund, being given to you, and it is not in secrecy. So then that is not corruption, but the intention and how you use it is what matters. So now, when we were given, for example, the 20M, if you go to the answered and follow up on most members, including myself, we were like, no, we don't need this money. Because now me, I had even put in money in my ambulance to take people day and night. Take them to from Kampala and hospitals. You know, they were locked up even in hospitals and there was no public transport. So it would take sick people and discharged people. I was already putting in money. I didn't need this money.
So you didn't take it?
I did not.
You did not take the 20 million?
No. Remember, it was put on our accounts. So when it was put on our accounts, I took it back. But to be sincere with you, that money was not needed of us. That is the time people were donating. That is the time politicians were donating to our people. People calling us, we want ABCD. But my people were for the ambulance because they have food, they are agriculturists, they have everything. Food, they were okay. But transport, someone wants to give birth.
But you took the 29 for the age limit.
And I said there is no secret money that is given to us. And even when it is given to us, it is for a reason that the public gets to know about. Not getting to know, but they tell the public, we have given this and this is intended for this. So now, for example, the 29, we were supposed to go and consult. Because we are in a democratic governance, we needed to go and consult. If you serve for Kyinyamatama age limit, you will see me on NBS, NTV, you'll be see, because I used to call all journalists. And I would call open community meetings, open. And I would give out this money. And this is how I gave it out. I would say, this church, I am giving you this money. This, I am giving you this. So that it has an accountability. And one, you have gotten what you wanted. So those are the two times where you would implicate a member of parliament touching public funds. But this was in the open look and people knew and there was an explanation.
Let me give you scenarios where they tell us you MPs received some envelopes.
Call them bribes, don't sugarcoat it.
Okay, bribe. I wanted to
don't sugarcoat things, no way.
For example, you are a certain committee is investigating Davis Kamukama investments for having done something that is adverse to the law. So that committee, this rich man Davis Kamukama will look for you and tell you, please, gentlemen and ladies, your honorable members, please behave.
Behave.
Exactly.
Okay. I have to be sincere.
How do youthful MPs conduct themselves when it comes to such scenarios?
To be sincere with you, I have not come across such a scenario. And I believe that this country has systems that can
There is
check
an MP
that.
who was giving me a story that a whole committee was disbanded by the opposition chief whip, the government chief whip, with the guidance of the speaker, because they had the facts of people that had shared some money and things like that.
So I think people that disbanded the committee are part of the bribery and corruption tendencies. Because one,
No, they
why
landed on facts and they had to take action.
what I'm saying, why was it a secret? Because I do not know about it. Why is it a story of one member of parliament? And why hide? Come out in the open and attack. And you're like, we have disbanded this committee because we found it was doing ABCD. So that it comes out clearly. So when you talk about that, I don't know maybe if it was in the other parliaments, but as far as
This
10th
very
parliament
one,
is concerned,
the 10th parliament.
I have had it with you. I do not know about that, and you should come out and do research
I'm actually
and publish it to the.
I'm quoting the chief whip, the opposition chief whip, the Honorable Semjunganda. He told me on this very program that together with the government chief whip and the speaker, they took action because there was information, they had facts.
If I was him, if I was him, that time, when that happened, I would just call out a press conference because opposition is there to check the ruling party or government. I would come out and call a press conference and tell the world and voters of such MPs so that such tendencies stop. You see, when you hide the truth, then you're part of the person, you're part of what you're hiding. You don't come out later on to talk about it. So I really do not know about that. And to be sincere with you, if I got to know, I would even come out with names. Because then it paints a bad picture. It paints a bad picture to all members of parliament. So if you're implicated in something and there is evidence, come out and talk about such a tendency, and so that it stops. But when you hide, you're promoting it.
Honorable Kyinyamatama, we are taking a break, but are you telling us that Parliament, members of Parliament, you are clean of bribes, corruption, and everything like that?
We are very clean. We are very clean. Like I have told you, there is no public fund that comes to us without the Speaker of Parliament and maybe the accounting officer, who is the clerk to Parliament, without coming out to tell the world that we have given 20M to members of Parliament for COVID consultations, or we have given them 29M for the age limit consultation. It will just come out. And then a discussion comes from there. No, this money, you shouldn't have taken it. And then members of Parliament will come with our own opinions. The public will know. And it will officially know. So then whatever that is not official, that you're thinking about or people are creating, or really I cannot come out to say anything that I do not know, and so I do not believe.
Let's talk about the female young MPs. What does it mean to be a young MP and female at that, in a house like that with professors, people with masters, very stubborn politicians, senior politicians? How does that situation treat a young female member of Parliament?
Of course, if you're not very assertive of what you want and who you are, you would be very intimidated because of the experience of those MPs, for example, because of the network. You come in and you're like the old man out almost. So it takes you time to understand the system and fit in. To fit in is the right word, actually. But it all goes back to a personality, who you are. There's someone who's not going to come in even as youthful, but they are intimidated. Someone will come out as in their youthful stages and take over the house. So it is really on a personal level. It's just someone's personality and character, and yeah. Otherwise, it's not very intimidative as people would think, because at the end of the day, you're all members of Parliament and equal. After knowing that, then that puts your esteem high, and you're okay to go, you're good to go. So members of Parliament that have just joined, all I would tell you, whoever watches this show, is that take on what you believe in and be yourself.
In particular, what challenges do young female MPs face in Parliament?
I don't know why you're tying it to only female MPs, because where the world is headed now, it can affect you. Whatever affects a female can affect a male.
Definitely, but we look at them
as vulnerable. I do not see...
Not just that, but at least they are not people we can underlook. Their existence can't be... We can't pretend that they don't exist.
No, they exist. Actually,
anyway,
when you look at...
challenges you see they face female youthful MPs?
Maybe being intimidated by these icons, like the great icons in Parliament. And to me, instead of being intimidated, instead of it being a challenge, it is an encouragement of like, wow, I want to be like her. How did she make it? So then it draws away from being a challenge, and you're like encouraged to be that person or even better. So I don't think it becomes a challenge for you to come to Parliament at a tender age. I don't see that. I see it as an advantage, and using that platform, that opportunity to do your best.
Thank you, Honourable. To you watching us, she is the Honourable Member of Parliament, woman Member of Parliament for Rakai District. Her name is Juliet Kyinyamatama Suubi, and we are sharing a number of issues in the discussion. She came to Parliament as a youthful leader, and we want to understand how do they fit in where they find 80-year-olds, 50-year-olds, PhD holders, and people like that, their mothers and grandfathers in the same house. One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lokomwa, and our guest tonight is the woman MP for Rakai District, the Honorable Juliet Kyinyamatama. Honorable, welcome back from the break.
Thank you.
Yes, we are talking about young and youthful MPs in Parliament. We took the break where we were talking about the female ones. There are talks that male MPs take advantage of youthful female MPs. How true is that?
I think it's not true. And I do not know where such stories are derived from. Because we do not have examples of where that has happened. I would imagine of you asking me how does it feel maybe to be, because I came to Parliament, for example, when I was not married. And you're like, so how do you go to Parliament? You're a member of Parliament, you're up there, you're not married, and it is not a guarantee that you'll find a single member of Parliament who's going to marry you. How would you then be vibed? How do they access you? You get. And maybe if you're drawing a story from one of the members of Parliament that took a male person who was stalking her on her social media platforms and everything, maybe if the story would be that. But I do not see yourself being harassed in Parliament because you're a female, you came to Parliament and you're female and old members or male members are harassing you. Just like any other community, people fall in love. You have seen, for example, I saw recently over the weekend, one of the ladies who works with, is it NTV, was engaged by someone who works with NTV. And we see Kabura, Derek and Flavia, Kabubura and Flavia. So people get married and fall in love with people that are around them, same network, same connection. But that doesn't taint a bad name that maybe people at UBC marry each other. You will get married, you'll get to know each other, you will befriend each other, and you get married from the same network. Maybe you go to clubs together or you went to school together. So it must be a social network that is connecting you to your...
So the young ladies who are coming to Parliament should not fear that. It's not...
No, it shouldn't scare anyone. It shouldn't scare parents. Because parents are going to stop the young ones from the youthful children of theirs to come to Parliament. But because for example, me, I was inspired by my father, encouraged by my father to come to Parliament. I was sponsored. Fuel that would drive me around the district and everything was from my dad. Maybe if he had had such a bad perception, it would be like, Togenda, you first get married and maybe you go there. But I mean, Parliament is a normal working place like any other in this country or in the world, where you can see a fellow member of Parliament and fall in love if it is good for you, or where you can get any other person to marry. Because, for example, I got married to someone who was not a member of Parliament. So it is just a stereotype that needs to be corrected. Yeah, it is a normal working place. No pressure. You come and deliberate for this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
How were your first elections the first time you came to Parliament? How easy was it for you to trounce someone in the primaries, then again in the general elections?
I think as time goes on, you get to know how hard the world becomes and what you want.
Because I want to take a comparison of 2016 and how it was 2021, because your primaries didn't go
2016
well.
and 2021.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
2021, your primaries didn't go well.
Yes.
2026, it was something good for you.
So me coming to Parliament in 2016, it was as if a given. It was as if a must. It was, I didn't go through hardships to really make it to my first time in Parliament or my first time in Parliament. I was contesting with the 3 ladies in the NRM primaries, and one of them, my biggest competitor, was a sub-county chief for many years, so many sub-counties. She was well-known, well-grasped there, and she had been in the district working there for like 20 years, so she was well-grounded. But I came in with my agenda. It was my agenda that brought me to Parliament. And me, I took it for granted. I thought it was very easy. And I found a stereotype of, if you don't see so and so, you cannot win that sub-county. If you don't talk to so and so, you can't win that women group, they won't vote you. So I came with a different narrative of, why don't I go and approach the people?
Not the individual.
Not the individual. I was really against it, and I was intentional. I was like, it is so unfair for only one person to decide. So if it's been a culture, it needs to change. I went to the people, to the masses, and they voted me, and they fought for me, and I did not know how hard it is to make it in an election.
Not until the 2021 primaries.
And when I was taken to court, so I was taken to court that I bribed an election, that I what was it called? Intimidated, what have you, rigged, ballot stuffed. I did not know that these things happen. And I was so annoyed. I'm like, how can you even think about something that I've never thought about? And you're forging way out. But thank God, justice came out in court. So this time, this is now when I know it is not easy to be a member of parliament. So I come do my 5 years, go back, and I was in 70% of my win. I knew it was easy for me. I knew I was coming back to parliament. I knew it was a given.
Was that during the primaries?
During the primaries.
Okay.
And I was heavy. And people were like, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And trust me, I did my best. There is nothing that drew me back, that you're heavy, you can do this. I did my campaigns as usual. Village to village, explaining why I have to come back to parliament for a second term. But little did I know that actually someone can rob off your victory, and smartly. And you do not even trace how someone did it, but you hear stories. So I get some small information that, yeah, you think you're winning, yeah, you have the support, but you're not going back to parliament. I'm like, why? There is a sub-county where they're planning to read you out. I'm like, how? So they gave me 2 sub-counties. I go check the statistics of last year, check this, and I'm like, wow, there's a problem. There's a problem. Because they had inflated the register. The previous election, that particular sub-county had 5,000 voters. The final one. And now they had put 15,000 voters. It has 19 villages. And I was like, here's a problem. I write to Mr. Tango Doy, I'm like, this is inflated. I start complaining, but I start seeing fire coming my way. I'm like, how can this happen? How can someone inflate a register like this? I'm like, okay, I am going to make sure I put enough vote security. I'm going to mobilize my people, they will be there, and we see how they will count more than 1,000 people per village. At the eve of the election, cut the stories short, I go there, and they beat us. Hit all my cars. You're not supposed to be in this sub-county. I thought it was a joke. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how? They were in my sub-county campaigning, and they were free and moving all night, and I was okay with it. I'm like, yeah, democracy has to take place. The world has to speak. Raqqa has to decide. So they beat us the whole night. We drive back home. Following morning, early in the morning, we check our people again. They beat them. We didn't protect our vote there. There was no vote security, no vote protection, nothing. Intimidated everyone in that sub-county because that's where my opponent was coming from. And guess what? In the evening, I win everywhere, and they bring results from that sub-county, someone having 15,000 votes.
All the people they have voted for her.
And what do you say?
Okay, so how do you sail through with the general election?
But can you imagine that shock? I was shocked. I'm like, you mean things can happen like this? I couldn't believe it. I didn't even fight on or do anything. I was like, so I told my people.
Is that when you got to know that people who say my victory was stolen, they always say.
I was like, oh my God, it's true. It was, I couldn't believe it. So I just say, I'm like, oh, okay, let me go back home. Guys, no fighting, no nothing, let's go back home. I don't want someone to shed blood. So we drive back home. I come, give birth properly. I'm like, now, kama mbaya ni mbaya, I have to go back and bring back that victory. And now I go back. And I had a question to answer. Will you protect our vote? Will you protect our voice? Or they're going to take it like how they took it? That was a big answer for me. So it now the campaigns drew away from what have you done for us? And they're like, are you protecting?
The victory.
Imagine the hassle you go through to explain to people, to bring back their confidence, when they are not even now putting you to what you have done for them, but they are like, we have seen all that, you're capable. But
so you won a sympathy vote.
And people,
in the general
but
election.
a sympathy vote of explaining that you're going to protect it. It was a hard campaign.
You betrayed the party and...
I don't think it was about the betrayal.
Yes, because no matter how the person won, but she was the flag bearer at the end of the day.
It ceases to be betrayal since the time iPod. See, they all sat and they were like, can we chase away independent candidates out of this country? You either belong to a party or you don't. It comes to parliament, we don't pass it. The president is like, no, we cannot do away with the NRM independent leaning candidates because we do not have a super free and fair election. We are not yet to that level. We still have some Burumira. It doesn't mean that some areas maybe they would win genuinely, but he himself sees that there are some bit of gaps that don't add up, that we need to add up. So all of us, all political parties in this country, shut down that proposal.
Won't you miss working closely with the NRM?
I am not missing it. I am NRM. I am there. I am not missing it.
Because if you're independent,
for example,
won't you be locked out?
For example,
some discussions and things
for
like
example, aren't you aware that independent members of parliament that are NRM leaning are in Chankwanzi? I had them in Chankwanzi as well. And most of them have now come back on the NRM flag. So it's just about the flag, not your values. Because I believe in the NRM ideology. And I am NRM. So there's nothing I'm going to miss. No, I am NRM.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. Her name is the Honorable Juliet Kyinyamatama, the woman MP for Rakai District. We have shared a lot with her, right from the life of a youthful member of parliament, for whoever has picked a message and a point that is so good for you. Wish you all the best. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Good night.